Welcome to Soveryn Podcast, the voice of independent Luxembourg.
All right, so hello, this is Paul Connery, host of Soveryn Podcast, where we discuss the highs and lows of startup culture, being independent and building a brand. And because today we have Trev in studio, we're also talking about building a body. We are going into what, week 4?
Week 5 this week.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun.
So last week we had the targets to set up. We had 3 trainings. We had to be aware of my diet.
Correct.
And
it was about starting to think about what you're eating and how you're eating it.
Yeah, and I think sort of feeling my way through this process that Trev has got me going. So over to you, Trev.
Right. Like Paul just said, I've got him focusing on the food. I've put together a package. It's a balance of food, nutrition and sport, and bring the 3 together to get people healthy again. The reason why I've got this package, it's a recurring theme for me. I meet a lot of people who are overworking, overeating, stressed, everything's difficult, and I've put a package together to try and take away a little bit of the stress and get them fit again.
Nice.
So, straight on to the summary for this week. So Paul focused on his steps, he focused on his training. If we go with the steps first, incredible performance, the best we've had. We set a daily total and a weekly total. Paul had completed the weekly total on day 6.
Nice.
A full day, so he'd got these victory steps that we call them. On the 7th day, he'd already achieved. From that, I'm go up a little bit. So we were on 6,000. We're going to go to 6,500. But that's going to be it, because we've got to reach a ceiling. You cannot keep doing more steps. So for Paul, and this is part of this package, it's got a link into Paul's lifestyle. And if Paul's lifestyle says 6,500 steps equals 2 hours a day and that's his limit, that's his limit. And 6,500 is enough for now, more than enough.
If I just add on that really quickly, the 6,500 steps I think I can do. Where I miss it sometimes is the day takes off and I have to use the car.
Yeah.
So then it gets into a struggle. That's where I see the struggle with steps.
Yeah, that's great. And again, what we want to do is avoid this. We've got 2 targets. We've got daily targets and a weekly target. Yeah. If you miss a daily target, let's not get too upset about it. We've missed the day, we'll move on to tomorrow. It's about, if you're hitting the dailies, you're going to get there in the week. It's about trying to keep the pressure off as well.
Nice.
The other one, the big focus was the training. It was only Paul's second group training session. Immeasurable difference. Again, he's there, he's on it. An interesting point, we broached on it last week, and Paul stated that he was apprehensive about coming to the training. We'd arranged a Sunday training. He thought about it all day. Again, I do my thinking on my scooter. I was riding home. I agreed with Paul at the time that we would not change the training. We would keep the same to remove the apprehension. Then I'm thinking, why did he feel the apprehension? So throwing it back to you, what was it? What was the fact? And as soon as I said we keep the training the same, I could see you relax. Could you go into it just a little bit about?
Are we talking about the apprehension to the Sunday training?
Yes, the pre-training, the first week, and I could see it on your face. And the second week was a little bit less. Like what?
I think it's just like getting back into training with a group of people when you're out of shape, and it's so hard to get. The hardest thing for me in my life is starting in everything.
Right.
So starting is so hard. Yeah. Once you're into the routine, once you can hit cruise control and stop thinking about it, it just gets easier and easier.
Right. So you're kind of thinking, so by me saying exactly what we're going to do is almost cruise control.
It helps me. It helps me a lot.
Oh, that's great. And that's something, like I say before, that everybody's package is unique. There's an overarching system, but when you dig down, everybody has got a different way, and obviously this is something I'll build on with Paul. Quick recap on the week, Paul. How did it go for you?
I think overall things are great. I really appreciate doing the steps now, and it's not as painful.
That's great.
Which is ridiculous to think of how out of shape I am, but that being said, it gets to a point where I enjoy taking the steps.
Yeah. And you've gone, I'm assuming that you're walking to work,
walking to work.
You're leaving the car as far away as possible.
I mean, it's actually in my thoughts day to day now is how do I arrange tomorrow so that I can get my steps in.
Right, that's great.
So,
and we talked about steps. We're in the studio. I don't think there's any steps available here. is there anywhere where you can get these, as well as just the walking, just to change it around a bit? Can you run up and down some stairs or something like that to give you?
Well, I don't know if we're going to talk about it this week, but I've been actively taking the stairs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just if you've already been doing it, that's great.
Yeah, I've been throwing it wherever I can. I try to park -5 and hike up the stairs, man, and throw that in.
That's great. And because what happens is it's identifying that Paul's very tight on his time. So 5 flights of stairs might take 5 minutes, but it's actually 15 minutes of exercise. It's a nice way of speeding up the exercise.
What I have noticed about the stairs is this: I'm out of breath afterwards.
Yeah.
And I feel annoyed in the process while I'm doing it. Sometimes I think, why am I doing this rather than taking the lift? I get a high from it though 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
When you're back in the office or you're having a meeting and you're thinking, I feel good.
That's all to do with the endorphins being released.
Absolutely.
As well. You know, you do that. That is exercise. It's not like a walking around the park. If you're up and down those stairs, that's exercise.
Yeah.
That's great. Right, this week, slightly different. We talked about it. We broached on it earlier. Food.
Yeah.
Food is by far the most delicate subject.
Yeah.
Paul's training is going great. It's absolutely perfect. It's going according to plan. Ultimately, nobody can train away a bad diet.
Yeah.
At some stage, we've got to attack the food. We agreed this week Paul's going to think, and now we're going to take it a stage further. Before I dig in, as much as you want to share, Paul, can you give us like how you got to 30 kilograms overweight? You know, nobody gains 30 kilograms overnight. How did you get to where we are today?
So for me, I think we talked about it. There was always about a 15 kg fluctuation.
Yeah.
For me, that was quite easily to go up and down. Since I've been about in my early 20s, I could go up and down fairly easily. And I was always roughly aware of where I was at in that scale.
Yeah.
And I would get into a period where I've lost weight and I'm working out, and then things would come down, and then I would go back to bad habits.
Yeah.
About 3.5, 4 years ago, I started to hit a new level of stress with work and the ability to balance personal and professional commitments with the overall fear, which was I was taking a lot of risk, I was taking on debt, I was building a business, and this just sent my overall bad habits into a whole new level.
Food was the comfort.
Food
was the escape.
I don't drink alcohol. I have in the past smoked cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't have too much of a sweet tooth, but I think the thing that comforts me the most is comfort food and sort of withdrawing from the world.
Yeah.
So I like to be, I like to watch content. I like to read books. I like to talk to people, but I also like to withdraw.
Right.
And so that is my comfort zone.
And the food, with the withdrawal came the
absolutely.
food.
Yeah.
2 points to draw out there. The first one is this buffer zone. This is, again, a recurring theme I come across. I think we've all got a buffer zone of where we can go up and down. I've got exactly the same as you. And you go up and down and you go up and down and you're kind of okay with it. We reach a stage at whatever the end of that buffer zone is, 5 kilos over, 10 kilos over. And that's the point of almost no return.
Yeah.
And what I find with more or less everybody like you is that once they go over this buffer zone, they gain 10, 15, 20, 30 kilos very quickly.
Yeah, that happened to me. You gain it, and then all of a sudden it's a whole new level.
That's
and it's
then,
discouraging.
Exactly, and then where I'm picking people up is then they become lethargic. They can't move the same.
Yep.
It's more difficult to move. All the pain comes in, the aches come in, and then they start in with the doctor, and that's kind of like where we met.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 4 weeks ago, and already we're pulling away from that. We're coming
100%,
back.
yeah.
Right, so we're going to go into the diet this week. Like everything I do, slowly, process, habit.
Yeah.
And I'll repeat, delicate. I'm aware of the delicacy. I want you to be aware of the delicacy.
Yeah.
All diets work. Whatever you choose, whatever path we could go down, I could choose 10 different ways with you, and you less calories, more protein.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do works. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to start. We had a little chat before we came on air. I kind of know what Paul's up to, so I'm going to go for basically this a balanced diet: 25% protein, 25% fat, and 50% carbohydrate. Most people who are listening to this are going to be like, what's 25% this, what's 25% that? So what I've done, just sat on the table, is I've brought 3 or 4 examples of meals that reflect that.
Yeah.
So the way I do it, I'm a very visual focused person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into books and science. I'm actually going to put food in front of you.
Nice.
And say to you, that's 25%, that's 25%, this is this, this is that. Once you start understanding these ingredients, it's very easy to get the approximate. I don't do a scientific approach, a sustainable. I have tolerance left to right, but we're going to go for this 25, 25 and 50. That's the first one. Don't worry about what that looks like now. In the next month, you will understand, because I'm going to give you these meals. All these meals, all the recipes I've got online. There's photographs, the recipes are there, and I've got a helpline if you're struggling. There'll be a way, Paul's the expert, that I can get these recipes out to you. So the recipes are available. Happy to talk about them, no problems. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to try, and I only mean try, to reduce your food consumption by 5%.
Yeah.
And what this is about, it's about you taking control of the food.
Yeah.
What I did with the steps is that I wanted you to control those steps. The first week, it was 3,000. We set a target of 3,500. You hit that. You was in control of those steps. What I want to do is get you in control of the food. So when you're eating a packet of peanuts, and you've got a full packet of peanuts, what I want you to do is hold back on the last, even 10 grams. Hold back on that. And start, no more, no less. Hold back. When you're tempted, if you buy a pizza, so you get a pizza, save a slice.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, that's a challenge.
Yep.
It's easy for me to say that is going to be a challenge, but that's what I want you to focus on.
Very good.
Everything again, like I say, accountability, it comes again. What I'm going to do is give you a food diary. Again, I've got the food diary online. Anybody's interested, I'm happy to share. What I want you to do, I've printed it out to make it as easy as possible. I want you to put the food diary somewhere that you can put your hand on it immediately. And I want you to record what you eat. This week, I don't want weights, I don't want measures. I just want you to write down what you're eating.
Yeah.
We're going to use this as the basis of the future. This is what we're going to use, and every week we're going to tune that.
Very
and
good.
we're going to tune it at your pace.
Great.
Okay?
All right, man.
That's great. Right. For the future, like I said, we're going to up the steps. And I want to reiterate that we're nearly at the end. You've achieved... We talk about these goals. It's important to achieve goals. The biggest goal is the continuity. It's like, do it. You're there with that. We've arrived. Now what we're going to do, we're almost going to start setting things in stone. It was all very fluid before, and it was difficult some days and not others. The steps, we're nearly there.
Yeah.
We're going to reach this ceiling of 6,500, and we're going no more.
Good.
That's it. So that's finished. The training, the one group session with me, it's good, and it's going to get better.
Yeah.
I want you to keep attending them.
Yeah.
And because we've got the continuity, you're going to enjoy it more. The 2 training sessions on your own, you're doing them, but you're now focusing on food and training. If there's a priority this week, it's food.
Okay.
Priority is the food, the training's the second. And if you've got to cut the exercises in half, just do it. Just do a little bit. Let's really go for the food this week.
Sounds great, Trev.
Any questions?
No, that's good. Looking
That's
forward
great.
to it.
And I'm really looking forward to... Sorry, I should... One of the other things, was I going to talk about it? Was I not? I'm not sure. At some stage, I'm going to put Paul on the scales.
Sure.
And I'm sure that people listening, they want to see -2 kilos, -3 kilos, -20 kilos. I do as well. But what I don't want to do, I don't want the numbers to interfere with the process. So let's not worry about the numbers. Let's worry about the process. And at some stage, we'll jump on the scales, and then we'll share where you're at then. But for now, it's focusing on the process, what you're doing, how you're doing it.
All right, Trev. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Cheers.